After logging in, you'll be at your Canvas page. It'll start off on your dashboard, which will show all of the classes that your daughter is in. A couple of things that you'll notice right off the bat. On the right-hand side should be any assignments that are coming up due. So this is a great way so that you can stay on top of, help your daughter stay on top of her work. We're going to walk through on the left-hand side, the global navigation, what some of these icons mean. You might not have all of them, but I'm going to show you some of the ones that you might be using on a regular basis, or at least when you first get started. And then we'll talk more about dashboard and courses more specifically. Okay, first thing is going to be the account page. On accounts, the first thing we're going to go through is the notifications. And this would be where you control how many notifications you receive. So depending upon what action item you'd like, so let's say you want to have due date assignment changes anytime someone changes the due date in their class or your daughter's class, you can get a notification for that. I tend to do a lot of weekly summaries, but if you want to get a daily summary of any time something has been changed or an immediate notification, or just to turn it off entirely, you can do that too. You might not have all of these same setups here and all of these different options, but I recommend if you are interested in knowing, getting notified on what's going on in your daughter's particular course, just going through and seeing what you want to be notified with. All right, the other one I want to show is this QR code for mobile login. We have a Canvas app. If you look in your app store for the Canvas parent app, when you log into that, they're going to ask you for a QR code. This would be how you would generate it. I'm not going to proceed here because I don't want you seeing my account personally. But if you were to create your own personal, after you created your own personal account, this would be where you could generate the QR code to log into the Canvas app on your phone. Going down, we'll go over to the calendar feature next. The calendar feature is unique in that it shows all of the due dates for anything assigned in the Canvas. So if your daughter has something due at a particular date and time, it will appear on the calendar. Now you can change your settings from going to a week setting or a month setting, or if you want to go into an agenda setting that just shows what is coming up and when it's due. So it gives you a nice layout here. To toggle between calendars, if you want to turn a calendar off, so these are all of my classes that I'm teaching. But if I wanted, let's say, turn off the design thinking class, I would just click that button to turn it off and turn it back on. One thing to note with the calendar feature is that it only works if there is a due date assigned to it in Canvas. So if the teacher assigns something outside of Canvas or assigns something without a due date, it will not populate on the calendar. Another thing to add is the history button. This will highlight any new assignments that have been posted recently in your daughter's courses. So you can see here, if I've been very active in posting things into the design thinking, they will appear. This is something that I know a lot of teachers don't really use just yet, but it depends upon what works best for your daughter. It's a nice, again, nice history to see what has been recently posted in recent actions. All right, so now let's go on back onto the dashboard and start talking about individual courses. So all of these little icons highlight a different course that your daughter is taking for this year. If you want to get a high-level overview, you're going to click on View Grades, and clicking that button will show you everything that happens in your daughter's, in all of your daughter's courses at a very high level. So what are their averages across all of their courses? Here's a demo. So this would highlight not only the student name, which is great if you have multiple people, if you have multiple daughters going to Notre Dame, but then also the subject, and then what their current average is. So for example, in quarter one, this student in this particular subject has a 91. As the year goes on, we can also change this so that this isn't just quarter one, but then could become quarter two, the semester grade. This is available throughout the entire year. This is nice because it gives us, again, a high level of what it could look like. But then it also gives us the opportunity to say, oh, wait a minute, there's a lower grade here. Let's investigate a little bit further. And we have the ability to drill down further into not only this course, but all of these courses that are available. So I'm back on my dashboard. Let's say I want to drill down further into the design thinking course. We'll click on the course. Notice that it also changed over to the Courses tab from the Dashboard tab. You can always go back to this Courses tab, and it will always have all of your courses listed out. Clicking on any one of these will allow me to drill down further into the course. A lot of the courses will have the same setup on the left-hand side. They might have some different icons. You might not be seeing things like quizzes or modules on some of your courses, but many of the courses will feature some of the same components. This includes announcements, which are ungraded assignments. This would also be how your daughter would access any Google Meet links if she needed to work online for an extended period of time. There will be an assignments tab, which will highlight all of the assignments due for the course. Some teachers will choose to use modules, which organize all of the assignments based on units. But this will be a general overview of all the assignments that are due. Okay. I also have here individual percentages if your daughter's class has a weighted average system. So in this case, classwork is 30% of the grade, homework is 20% of the grade, and projects are 50% of the grade. Regardless of whether a teacher is using a total points or a weighted average system, they'll still have these categories most likely, but they just might be different labels. You might not have a discussion section. Canvas does a really good job of trying to limit what an observer can see so that it's only focusing on that particular observer's subject. In this case here, the only stuff that an observer, the parent, would be able to see would be things that are directly associated with your daughter. Discussion boards feature a lot of students in class, so that would not be able, you wouldn't be able to view the discussion board, but it would still be there. If you want to see the individual grades, we would click on this grades piece here. So this is a demo of what it would look like. If you were to click on grades, let's say you were in a history class, and we're showing the grades for this particular awesome student. Again, we have this drop down of where you can change which quarter you're looking at. You can change the course as we go on. And it shows you a nice high level of what the current average is. So let's say we were looking at that failing grade. That average would appear here. If there's a weighted grading system, we would also see the breakdown of the grades. So for instance, in the design thinking course, we would see the 20% homework, 30% classwork, so on and so forth. Down here at the bottom, we would see a breakdown of the individual assignments. So what would the assignment's name be, when it was due, if it was turned in late or not, what its score was, and out of the total possible points earned. If it was an online submission, and if the teacher had set it so that the student can submit their work online, you would also be able to view the online submission by clicking one of the icons on the side here. You might have a couple of different icons over on the side, and that would depend upon if feedback had been given. A great piece of Canvas is that you can add feedback directly onto the assignment, and as an observer, you should be able to view any feedback given to an assignment as well. This really opens up the course in a much greater detail. One thing I will note that just because an assignment is listed as missing, it requires the teacher to turn off that missing item. So if a grade is missing, but it has a grade next to it, I would trust the grade more than the missing piece. The teacher needs to set that setting off. And those are the high-level pieces for Canvas. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to my email, tgaspich@ndapa.org, and I'll be happy to help.